What's happening? Welcome to a Wednesday training and live, whatever you want to call it. Just hanging out with me, right? Hope you're having a wonderful week. Hope you're having a great Wednesday. Hope everything's going well. And I wanted to start getting into some pretty deep stuff here. Some good beginners tips, because I think that there's a lot of people out there that could use some beginners tips, right? There's things that people don't do, or maybe they're not really aware of. And so I just want to make sure that we can get on here, I can get on here and help you out and give you some ideas and things that you can get started in, because we've been a year in this whole pandemic, right? We've been in this whole virtual world for about a year, coming up on that, I guess, middle of March is when we all kind of were forced to go home and stay home. So a lot's changed. The world has changed. And the real question is has that change really pushed people in a direction that, has phased out some other ways of doing things, or maybe people just aren't aware of some of the stuff that's out there. So my goal probably for the next few weeks, maybe a little more, depends on what content I come up with. I'm going to start talking about some beginners ways, like beginners guides to getting started in certain areas within the online and digital marketing space, because I've been talking to quite a few people and I get a lot of this like, oh, I didn't know that was still a thing, or I didn't know that was possible. Well, guess what? I'm here to tell you that these things are possible. We're going to walk you through how to get started on these things. And today we're actually going to do that with email marketing. I know everybody out there, well, not everybody, but there's a lot of people out there that will tell you, don't do email. It's so dumb. It's so boring. Nobody answers emails anymore. Everything needs to be done in Facebook, Messenger, all this stuff. But let me tell you something. Email marketing does still work. Why? I do it. And when they've got a list of hundreds or thousands of people, you can actually see and start, it's just like anything else, right? You're like ads or anything like that. You tweak, right? You look at your metrics, you look at your analytics, you tweak what you need to do. But we're not going to get into that. We're going to get straight up into like, how does somebody get into email marketing? One of the things that people probably don't know about me recently is I actually went through an email and digital marketing certification course. So that's one of the reasons why I'm also talking about this, because I've learned a lot about what's proper in terms of email and digital marketing. And it makes a lot of sense as to why people are still doing these things. So many people are giving up these old tactics, and I wouldn't really call email an old tactic. The thing that people get weary about is they go, one of the big things you hear is go look at your phone and look at how many unread emails you have and look at how many unread messenger messages you have. Guess what? That's fine. That's the same with text messaging, right? But remember, the fact that email is still the primary communication method for almost every brick and mortar business out there. Newsletters, transactional emails, things like that. So why can't we use that in the digital marketing world? Well, we can. We just have to know how to do it right. And so today we're going to go through the next probably 15, 20 minutes, just give you a quick little overview of exactly how you can get started with email marketing. We're not going to go into specifics. I'm not going to talk about specific platforms because there's plenty out there. If you want to know about platforms, you can definitely let me know. We can have a conversation about it. I can let you know which ones work better than others. I've tested about half a dozen different email platforms for transactional emails and autoresponders and things like that. And, I've got a couple of my favorites, but it's a really wide open world out there. So you don't want to get yourself stuck on something because somebody told you. Like, you got to do your research. You got to understand what your market is, right? And that's a really interesting, great segue, Josh. Thank you, Josh. That was really nice. But anyways, so that's the big thing, right? Is determine how you're going to set up your platform, determine what your target market's going to be. And the reason for that is because just like anything else, right? You hear it all the time. You hear it with ads. You hear it with organic marketing. You hear it with starting a business. What's your target market? What's their need? What's the problem that you need to solve for these people? And when it comes to email marketing, when you look at your target market, you need to figure out, what are you trying to communicate to these people? What is it that you want to accomplish, and what group of people are actually going to consume that content with you, and they're going to want to open your emails. And so, hey, Civil, thanks for being here. Love it that you're on with me live. That's awesome. So when you look at like who you want to send emails to, like let's take a good example. Let's say you want to open up a McDonald's. Are you going to send emails to somebody who's a vegan? Probably not, right? I wouldn't. I mean, honestly, I wouldn't send anything to somebody who's a vegan, right? Like I wouldn't do that. But that's the thing, is you need to know your target market. Who are you actually going for? So for someone like McDonald's, you would probably want to send emails to the younger crowd. You want to send emails. I love their double quarter pounders. It's amazing. And their fries with the chocolate shake. Just, I already had dinner and I'm already hungry again. But so think about that, right? If you're going to send emails out, what is your purpose of the emails, and what market do you want to actually target for those emails? That's super, like that's priority number one, because if that's not clear, then your email marketing will be kind of a pain in the butt. And you're going to spend a lot of time sending emails to people who it's falling on deaf ears or deaf eyes, I guess. So number one, figure out your target market. Number two is determine what you're going to promote in your emails, right? Like, what are you going to do in your emails that you're going to get that rolling? And here's what's crazy, right? We haven't talked about like, how do you get it set up, all this stuff. This is literally just, how do you get started? What's the first things you need to do? So figure out who and figure out what. And when you think about what, it could be anything. Maybe you have a business on the side, or maybe your main business is a health and beauty place, right? Maybe you do like skincare and makeup. Maybe you want to do a newsletter every week or every month that is talking about different skincare and makeup tips. Maybe you do YouTube videos and you want to use email to reach a different demographic to get your videos out and get people to subscribe to your content. Or maybe you want to show people, what you know, because maybe you're an esthetician or maybe you're a cosmetologist or whatever the case may be. And you have all this great advice and experience that you can provide to people. Like that would be who you want. You want to go to the people who are interested in that, and you want to know like what you want to provide to them. So let's go into like what I'm experienced in, which is like digital marketing, online marketing, affiliate marketing, network marketing, that kind of stuff. Well, who's my target market? Well, a good example for me, and probably for most of you that are watching this, because most of the people I'm connected with on Facebook are in that market, is that's people that maybe are looking for tips and tricks with the marketing, or maybe they're looking for stories and how to be better, mindset stuff. Maybe they're looking for a different opportunity. So maybe I promote some opportunities. Maybe I promote some products, things like that. I'm talking to entrepreneurs. So what am I going to do? I'm going to have an entrepreneurial feel to my emails, right? So that's important, is you need to figure out what you're going to promote, because once you know that, that's where you can start looking at what platform is going to be better. And that's where you have to do some research, and you can talk to somebody who knows, or you can talk to somebody, you can do, talk to Google, talk to YouTube, right? Go do some searching. And the big thing is, when you go in there and you actually start doing your research, you'll find out that some platforms for email are better than others. Now, the number one thing I will tell you, and yes, Civil, you are right. Get clear. Who are you going to help? Right? Like that's what we're here for, right? We're here to help people. So who are you going to help? But some platforms are really good for affiliate stuff. Some platforms are really good for transactional emails. And by transactional emails, what I mean is like, let's say you're e-commerce and you want to provide an email sequence to people that maybe they abandoned their cart, or maybe you have a loyalty program and you want to go through and you want to look at doing like a follow-up sequence for people that maybe looked at a product but didn't actually go to the cart. Maybe it's like, hey, you looked at this, but you want to do these things. That's, that could be something that would be good for transactional emails. Marketing emails could be a different type of platform, right? So yes, Civil, there are some great books to read on the background. A couple good books that I'll just kind of call out. a book called Expert Secrets. That's a good one to read on getting to know your target market, getting to know who you're looking for. If I remember correctly, it's been a while since I've read the book, but I believe that they do talk a little bit about emails in there as well. Yeah, that's a great book to start with. And let me know. I can get you a pretty decent deal on that book too. So figure out what you're going to promote and start doing the research and start looking at different platforms. And that's where you can start. Once you find a platform that's really good for your needs, that's where you start putting together what I like to call an intro or a welcome sequence. Because when you bring people onto your list, you want people to know who you are. You want to start building that know, like, and trust factor. You want to start showing people that you are a real person behind these emails. You're not just some contractor that wrote a bunch of copy and gave somebody a zip file full of scripts. You want people to understand your voice. You want people to know that it's you behind those emails. So start building that voice right away with a welcome sequence. So for example, people that get onto a couple of the lists that I have, the first thing they get is an email that's like, hey, thanks for requesting information. Here's a little bit about me. Here's a little bit about what you can expect. And then, go through there. I have an intro sequence that goes through a whole story. So when people get done with the initial lists, they go through this whole story that tells them about my life, my wife, my kids, all this kind of stuff. And it builds that relationship so they know that I'm a normal person behind these emails. Sometimes it works out great and these people love it and they open every other email that I give. And sometimes in that sequence, they go, yep, I don't like this guy. Boop, unsubscribe. Guess what? That's a good thing because you filtered out that person without actually having to talk to them. So start out, once you get a platform, once you're ready to go, you start out with a welcome sequence. You start out by introducing yourself to your audience. And even if these people already knew who you were, like, let's say you went on and you promoted whatever offer you're going to promote and people opted into this offer from Facebook and you had 5,000 friends on Facebook and they all knew they came from your Facebook. It doesn't matter. Everybody wants to know who the real person is behind these emails. And once they know who you are, they're going to continue to follow you. They're going to continue to open your emails. And maybe it doesn't happen right away. Maybe it takes a little bit, but they're going to see that you provide value. So where are we at right now, right? We're about halfway through. You determine your target market. You determine what you're going to promote. You found a platform that's going to work for you, and you put together a welcome sequence. Well, what do you start doing? Well, it's easy. You start building your list. And that could be a number of ways, right? You can go through and you can build your list in a way that is based on another product, right? So maybe you're an affiliate. You can use a capture page from an affiliate program to build your list. Hey, guess what? I have 3 of those. I have 3 different things that are automatically building my list right now. Like as we speak, there's traffic running those lists or running to those capture pages, and people are going on my list. You know why that's important? Because when they're on your list, you don't own them as a person, but you own the right to email those people. So you own this list of people that you can email and send them information. And down the road, maybe something catches their eye and they buy something. That's how email marketing works. Also, your affiliate offers are likely going to change, but your email list is not. So as time goes on, you can repurpose some of that content. You can go back, a year from now and start a sequence all over again. I had a sequence built up at one point that was 30 days worth of emails. I removed it because I changed my whole game, but 30 days worth of emails. And you know what's great about that is every person that went in there got all 30 of those emails if they didn't unsubscribe. And if I did that same email sequence a year later, do you think they're going to remember all of those emails? Maybe, but if you're still promoting the same offer, you can do that. So here's the beauty of it is you use capture pages. Maybe that's a form on your website. Like we've got a link on our website that's hey, subscribe to our newsletter, and they can get right into our newsletter. We've got different capture pages for different offers, and people can get in there and they get in that list of emails. There's different things they can do. But it's versatile. There's no one way to do it, but you got to build your list. And that could be something as simple as maybe a free ebook, right? Or maybe a free worksheet, or maybe a free challenge. That's going like crazy out there right now, right? Like find a challenge to promote and put a bunch of people on your list for this free challenge. And then now you can email them whatever you want because they went on your list with their own, they voluntarily did that, right? So that's where you want to start building your list. And that's the easiest way to start, right? If you don't have an offer to promote, another way that you can do that is you can just talk to people and say, hey, I'm building an email list that I'm going to start sending newsletters to. Would you like to be on that list? If they say yes, you ask for their email, they give it to you, you put it in, easy as pie. Now that's a very long and drawn out process. It's kind of like, trying to sell an automated system on Facebook, right? Like it's difficult to do stuff like that. So it can take a lot longer. So I recommend finding some sort of automated way to do that. Maybe that's running like a solo ad provider and buying traffic and that, buying clicks, for example, or running ads and it goes to a capture page. That's usually going to be a little bit more fluid, but that's kind of advanced and we can always talk about that later. So now you've got your market, you've got what you're going to promote, you put in your welcome sequence, you started building your list, people are going through your welcome sequence, they're loving it, they're responding back, they're clicking on your link, maybe you've got a website, they're doing all this stuff. So what's next? You've got the beginning stages set up for a successful email marketing platform. So what do you do next? Continue to email those people, but don't overdo it. Depending on your list and depending on what your goals are, most people I would recommend starting out maybe once a week, right? Send out a newsletter once a week. If you don't have enough content for that, you can do once a month. But for most people, more than once or twice a week is going to be a little much. Now, for some people, their strategy is a little bit more aggressive. I know for me, I email just about every day. But I also tell stories. My emails are a little bit different. I don't just, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing, buy my thing. Like there's an actual transaction being done. I may reference some of my offers in my stories every time, but I don't do that. I don't just say, hey, this is amazing, go buy this. Every now and then I will, because sometimes it's good just to get those quick and easy ones. But I build a relationship, but you don't have to email every day. You can do it once a week. You can do it once a month and be safe. Like that's the beauty of email marketing is you have about a 90-day window to talk to people and email somebody before they forget about you. That's something that is really important. And hey, you know what? Here's what's really cool. Check this out. Civil said, I like reading emails with stories. What's great about that is that's the brain, right? We love stories. We love reading stories. We love getting involved in the mentality of what's going on in that story. So that's proof right there that, Civil would be a great person for my list, for example, which she might even be on it already. And if not, maybe we'll talk about that afterwards. But, the thing is that a lot of my emails are very thorough. Some people are very quick and easy. It just depends on what your market is. My market is building relationships. I have what's called a relationship list. I want people to have that connection with me that when they see my email, they know exactly what they're getting. Some people just spam offers to their emails. To each their own, right? So we've got all that done. And so that's really the basis of it all is you've got your market, you determine what you're going to promote, you put together your intro or welcome sequence so people know who you are when they get on your list. You start building your list. So that's capture pages or doing it organically. And then you email your list. I recommend people do it once a month to start. Don't stress yourself out. If you've got a lot of content you want to put out there, do once a week. But see what your list likes. Maybe if you do once a week and they're all, you're getting a 50% open rate, which would be absurd. But let's say you do, maybe increase it to twice a week. And if it drops substantially, go back to once a week, right? It's all about testing. Digital marketing is all about testing what works and what doesn't. And so now you've got everything in place. What's the next step? Super simple. Ready? Hold up. Repeat the last two steps. That's it. Build your list, send emails. Build your list, send emails. That's it. And once you get into a place where your emails are getting really automated, right? Like you start thinking of ways. You go to the park with your kids and something happens and you go, "Oh man, that'd be a great email." Write it down, go write out the email, put it in your sequence. You're done. That's it. I know people that make a living literally sending an email a day, and it takes them 30 to 60 minutes. That's it. They've built a list and they continue to build a list, right? They continue to do that because over time, people will promote your newsletter for you. You can even give incentives for people to do that. But I know plenty of people that just live off of their email list. Now you're most likely you're not going to live just off of that because you're going to have other sources of income. And that's where, affiliate marketing becomes a big thing. And we'll talk a little bit more about that on a different one, but that's the basis of it, right? Is just, it sounds super simple and it's very similar to a lot of other programs out there, but you do it and you start out. Now, some people will ask, like, how big of a list do I need to be successful? That's different for everybody. For someone like me, I've got less than 1,000 people on my list. I clean it up fairly often, and I can generally get a pretty good amount of responses from my newsletter, from my emails. But for some other people, that might be thousands of people before they start seeing results. It's just like any other digital marketing endeavor out there. It's just like anything that you're going to start. It's going to take time to get a foothold. It's going to take time to really, put that know, like, and trust factor into your audience. And, if you want the help, we're definitely, I'm more than happy to get on and talk to you a little bit about it and give you some help. So that's all I've got for tonight, though. I definitely don't want to sit here and ramble on. I think that information is well enough to get you started. And it's definitely a good, easy beginner's guide to getting your email list started and start making, start building those relationships in your email. And like Civil said, build relationships and give value. That's super important. So appreciate you guys being here. Appreciate everybody who follows, who supports. If you know anybody who, would get any value from this, send them my way, recommend them to go follow me or, whatever the case may be. We do also have a YouTube channel. So you can find that YouTube channel in my link in my profile. There's going to be a link tree in there, and there's a little link to YouTube, a little button for YouTube there. So you can grab that. I'll put the link from our link tree in the comments as well. But I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and we will talk next time.